Call the meeting to order.
Coffee?
Here.
Kelly?
Here.
McKinley?
Yes.
Testori?
Here.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Looks like we have one public comment tonight. Andrea Rhodes. Would you like to come on up?
Yes. Where would you like me? Just
Front of the camera.
in front of the camera. Okay, got it.
We got some
My
handouts
mom's
here
gonna.
for you.
Okay.
Hopefully if you got our flyer, you've seen this, but the map's a little blown up. Oops, I'm sorry, this
That's
not
right.
thing over. Maybe you can see the map a little bit better than this one. Thank you.
All right. Hello, my name is Andrea Rhodes, and I'm a DeWitt County resident concerned about the proposed Tradewind industrial wind turbine project. I, along with a group of concerned neighbors, have been working to alert all residents about the potential project and the impacts it can have on our community. I handed out a copy of the current map that shows the footprint of the project, and as you can see, it has started to creep closer and closer to Farmer City. The project currently encompasses over 50,000 acres, which will be larger in size than the wind farm in Macon County. Tradewind has recently mentioned that they are still seeking landowners to sign contracts, so we anticipate that this footprint will change and will grow in the coming weeks. As a resident of DeWitt County, I have many concerns with having an industrial wind farm in our area. These concerns have to do with the health and safety of our community members, property right infringement, wildlife implications, and the inability of our communities to grow in the future. Over 800 DeWitt County residents also share those concerns and have signed our petition stating so. We have spoken to many counties who already have wind farms established, and we have learned through their firsthand knowledge of what we could anticipate if a project like this came through. Many of these communities have recently updated their zoning ordinances to better protect the residents should any future wind farms come to their area. Those ordinance changes acknowledge that industrial wind turbines can cause negative impacts to residents. Currently, our zoning ordinances regulating wind farms are not stringent enough to protect the health and safety and well-being of our residents. Also not protected are the property rights of non-participating landowners, those who are not receiving compensation but will live in the project footprint. We have recently submitted text amendment changes to the DeWitt County Board for consideration that will address those ordinances issues. Meetings are ongoing to determine what, if any, changes will be made. The next meeting will be held Tuesday, March 20th, tomorrow, where the Regional Planning Committee will be discussing multiple changes to our ordinances. If you have concerns, we ask that you come to that meeting and show your support. There is also a zoning Board of Appeals public hearing process beginning April 2nd to discuss the maximum height of a wind turbine as well as the setback distance from a home. Tradewind has mentioned publicly that they are looking at industrial wind turbine models that could reach up to 600 feet tall. For context, the St. Louis Arch is 630 feet tall. DeWitt County currently has no limit on how high the turbine can be. If you'd like more information, I'm here to answer your questions, or you can head online to our site, noturbinesdewitt.com, where we keep updated notes and events on the latest around this discussion. Thank you for letting me speak. If you have any questions, I'm here to help.
Where is the meeting tomorrow?
It's at the county courthouse in Clinton.
Right next door to the police station.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, section 1 is the consent agenda.
Move that we pass consent agenda.
Second.
Call it.
Coffee?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
McKinley?
Yes.
Testori?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Section 2 is our unfinished business.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1002. Approval of the rescinding of ordinance number 998, loading zone in the 300 block of Service Way.
Second.
Discussion? Scott?
I don't know what started this, and I talked to several business owners that don't want it.
Who don't want the loading zone or don't want it rescinded?
They want it rescinded.
Okay.
They said there's an interference with their business practices.
I'll just say, I don't think it interferes with their business practices. They're just all upset because maybe they weren't informed properly and everything else. And it's all come back at me for one thing I'm a little sick of, quite honestly. And I'm just ready to vote. I'll rescind the thing. Make it the way they want.
Anybody else? Call it?
Kelly,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Testori,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
motion carried.
Section 3 is our new business, ordinances and resolutions for initial consideration.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, the first four are all been before you, so
Yeah.
unless you had questions or concerns, you could just probably go just down the line.
These are all 4 things that we have to do, and this company's already working on it.
Correct. I mean,
Do we need to do
yeah,
this?
We don't really need to discuss, or?
Well, we discussed
Yeah,
it a little bit at the last meeting.
Right, so we're just
but-
deciding
Right.
on this. Okay.
They've done some gratis work for us to get this rolling.
Yep.
Can we make a motion just to approve 1, 2, 3, and 4? Or
You probably could if you rolled it into that motion.
Okay. I move that we approve, in section 3, new business, items 1, 2, 3, and 4 for approval.
Second it.
Discussion? Call it?
McKinley,
Yes.
Testori,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
motion carried.
Motion resolution 2018-6, awarding the bid for the 2018 farm season to Walsh Farms.
Second it.
Discussion?
We only received one bid. I did discuss with them entering into a lease agreement similar to our other property, and they were interested. I shot them over a draft lease that looks almost exactly like our other one. But I told him he asked if we could go ahead and at least approve the bid. He needs to do that for his paperwork in Clinton, and then we can pretty much put these terms into the lease agreement. The lease agreement will come before you though,
We
you'll
just need
get
to
to
come back and
approve that
approve
as
that.
well.
Sure.
Mhm.
Any other discussion? Call it?
Testori,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
motion carried.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1003, approval of the amendment to the ordinance 925 regarding golf carts.
I'll second.
Discussion?
This came to our attention, the chief expressed concern about the number of outside golf carts that would be coming into the community with the race this weekend. That's why we asked to put it on tonight so quick. It takes a lot of time and effort for the police department to track them, follow them, inspect them, and it's not just, we haven't been inspecting the temporary ones because, they just come in, but trying to stay on top of them. Do they have what they need? Are they operating correctly? Stopping them, telling them, you can't do this, that, and the other thing. So there's a lot of time and effort, which costs money. And so we were discussing implementing a temporary permit that would help us cover those costs since they're outside residents. And that if we did like a $25, well then, it's not fair, to have them pay the same amount as an annual, that the annual should probably be more. So that's what's before you. The chief is here, and he can fill you in on his thoughts. It was his suggestion that we look at it.
I have a couple of questions. How do you go about getting their golf cart certified, inspected?
The plan is I will have some papers prepared to have up there at the raceway, and then because there was inquiries last year, and we caught a few that were driving around town here.
Sure.
So they expressed an interest in following whatever procedures and rules that we had here. So we're going to make that available to them. We'll tell them what we require of them, the insurance and various other things. If they're interested, then we'll be called up there to do an inspection and make sure they have a current driver's license and the insurance, and then have the ability to purchase a tag. And the thoughts on this is they could use it for the year, because some of them will return for the, I think there's probably at least 2 big races, so they would potentially come back and use that again.
So this would be good for like a full 365 days?
It would.
For the temporary one?
For the
That'd be good for
season.
their race
No,
season.
for the
For the
race
season.
season.
Oh, for the season, okay, okay, okay.
So you're just gonna date, so you'll have an expiration date on the tags? Okay.
I believe it's in the ordinance.
We
They didn't get a
we
copy
didn't get the
of that.
ordinance, no.
You said you were gonna have it out.
Okay, I can go print it out really fast, but it calls for March 15th through, I believe, is it the end of September or the end of October? It's just the racing season. It just calls for a temporary $25 permit, but nothing else different in terms of what they need to have on their carts. And
It would be golf carts and UTVs like we do.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Are the dates flexible if the race season starts or starts earlier?
Yeah, I think I left a gap. Do you know what I mean? Like the race this weekend is actually, what is that, March 23rd? We did March 15th, just in case they needed to do it a weekend earlier next year. And then we pushed it extra. So that's why I think it's November 1st. But I can print it out really quick if you want to delay and come back to it, or...
Rick, do those dates work for you?
Pretty much, especially ending date. March 15th, might just be easier to make it March 1st, but just in case we ever had something, but...
So the fair board knows that this is happening?
No.
Okay.
Are there golf cart routes? We've established golf cart routes.
No, what we do though is we require people to cross over. So they're not just driving on 54 or 150, they have to cross over to the side streets. And
Certain streets too, isn't it?
Those are all marked,
No.
so we have to get them marked then.
Well, they can run to any streets in town, just not
Start
across
on
the
the
highway.
highways. So we
You can't run
stay
across the highway, you have to run out
consistently
certain
on the
places,
state
Well,
certain streets.
When I looked into this a couple of years back, the state said that the IDOT engineer would come out and set up crossings that would likely be the same as the snowmobile routes.
Yeah, but that's only a few streets. It's only 2 north and south streets and 2 east and west streets, correct?
I believe that's correct.
You just can't run down the highway and things.
Yeah,
Right.
there's so much money on the highway, and I think that's understandable.
That's correct. Even though sometimes we do have people that
But
take it
they're putting
elsewhere.
themselves. at
Correct, they
risk
know
to be
that
pulled over by the county
yeah,
or
they're
state.
putting themselves at risk, yes.
So to clarify, March 5th through September 30th, because I think we had to discuss that the last race is end of August? Labor Day?
I forget the schedule this year, but it can run up to like the 1st of September, so...
So September 30th would give, we tried to give enough gap.
Well, I hate to see anybody wind up with a ticket running up and down the street over a $25 tag. You know, it just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Now, this also will extend a local permit to $50 a year, correct?
Yes.
And was
Well,
that,
you can, that's our recommendation, but you can,
I'd like to see the local carts, there'd be a little bit of easement on the local carts as far as lights and things of that nature. I mean, we've got farm equipment that run no lights, we're just trying with
You do that,
flags.
Scott, the state says you have to do it this way.
I'm gonna say, isn't it a state regulation?
Yeah, it's state requirement.
Is it state?
Yeah. So basically we'll have to follow the state requirements.
All right.
If we deviate from it, then we've got some liability issues, I believe, so.
All right, enough said.
I think previously when we first started this, wasn't our permit $150?
Sorry, I forgot high.
It was high.
Lower it down, yeah. But nobody does it. There's very few people in town who take advantage of it.
10 or 12 most. How many permits you put out?
Probably about
Less than 20.
less than 20, probably 10 to 12 is pretty accurate, yeah.
I think that's fair enough. Anybody else have anything on this?
There's only 10 to 12 carts that run to the golf course.
No. There's
No,
only
that are-
people that have permits, and some of those don't even run to the golf course. Some of the ones that do in that part of town, that end of town, but there's nobody down in my end of town that has a golf cart permit. angered me personally because I could not take my cart home like at 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday and just clean it up and take it back out 6:30 on Sunday morning. And, you know, but, so, I don't drive around town, but I just clean it around.
I guess my question was, is there an enforcement issue with the golf course and their carts?
Is there an enforcement issue?
Yeah, there's a lot of golf carts
No,
by my house.
I understand that.
I don't care. I'm all for it. I love golf carts.
Well, we've made contact, I've made contact last year, and I'm gonna do it again this year, and remind them that they need to go ahead and get those licenses and stuff, and if not, then there's potential enforcement, that's correct.
All right.
That's fine.
Okay, so we need to,
Motion's on the floor.
Motion's yeah.
Second.
Unless you want to amend what's in here.
does anybody want to change anything? I'm not opposed to what's in here, I think it's fine. Call it.
Coffee,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Testory,
Yes.
motion carried.
Section 4 will be our other items.
I'm gonna, okay, it's just me. I apologize, I couldn't get the projector to work, then I was gonna have at least a pretty presentation and color, and that didn't work out either, so, it's been one of those days. So, you'll just have to walk through, it's not pretty, it's hard to, I put a copy of each, the presentation and the draft budget over there if the public wants to look at it. But I'll just walk through, you know, what's in here. I'm sorry that not everybody can see it. I was gonna have it on the wall up here, but we'll have to figure out what's wrong with the projector. Okay, so the first part, just a real quick overview of the fiscal 18 budget. Projected year end, we're looking at a small deficit that was already expected. There's a couple of reasons for that. One was a strategic drawdown purposefully, knowing that we were going to be in a deficit, but we made some, you know, we paid off a couple truck loans, purchased the police cars outright. We had some unexpected expenses, a change in city manager, some HR and legal issues. Then we also had some lower revenues than we expected. Property replacement and telecom taxes are all down. Income tax is going to go down another 10%, thank you very much, State of Illinois, starting this summer, May through August. So it's not terrible. It's in, you know, obviously this is projected, but it's about 65,000, which really isn't much. I mean, we still have almost 100% fund balance, which is healthy. Just a couple other things of note. The pool admissions were good. I think we budgeted like 20,000 and it ended up being 26. And our investment income is already, we're already starting to see gains on that, just moving some small amounts of money, and Ruth and I are working on moving some more. So that'll go up as well. In the utilities, water and sewer, as you know, we have not spent very much on our capital. That's going to change, but that makes our year end to project about even. That's because we haven't spent any money. We've just been kind of tagging along. Electric, we did have that large transformer that we just changed over. They're going to be in the black, but it is down from last year. But the utilities are holding their own, but we're not spending any money. So looking at fiscal 19, this is the coming budget starting May 1st. You're going to see some strategic drawdowns on funds. What this means is it's not an operating drawdown, it's a deficit budget, but it's on purpose. It's not because, you know, we're going to operate that way every month. But we're going to spend some money. And so we're looking at finishing the Maple Street sewer project. That's going to be out of the sewer fund. Doing Water Washington and Maple out of the TIF fund. That's new pipes, manholes, culverts, road, curb, sidewalks, new storm sewer. That's out of the TIF fund. John Street in front of Schneider School, working with the school, looking at new pipes, road, sidewalk, and then the school participating in some fashion. MFT, after talking to staff, the recommendation is to do the 200 block at East Green, grind new asphalt, curb, sidewalk. You're also going to see new hydrants. 3 a year is what we're going to try to do. If we can do more, we will. New meters, new catch basins, treatment plant repair and replace. So we're going to start looking at our money coming in. You know, like I said, some are down, some are up. This is broken down by category. So you're going to see some reduction in taxes, some increases in a few areas, but pretty much if you look at the bottom under total, we're kind of holding our own, around 1.1 million. To break it down further in the next chart, I have color, I know that you don't, but it's by year, so the left is 14-15 through the 18-19 budget. I think the thing to notice is that things are going down. So property tax went up for a couple of years, but it's coming back down. Income tax is way down, as is sales tax is way down from the 200s into the 180s. And then gaming tax, is doing well. I guess everybody's gambling. That's up almost 10,000. So in the pie chart for general fund revenues for this coming fiscal year, the biggest is taxes. Those are your, again, property tax, income tax, all that. A lot of little things, and then you see in the big other 37%, almost 40% are transfers in. What is that? Your utilities are supporting your general fund. That is not good. But there's not really a whole lot we can do about it. It's to the tune of almost $300,000. It's not something that you're just all going to suddenly stop doing, but it's something that you need to be aware of, that, you know, our general fund would not function if we didn't have this. So just something that I wanted to point out. Again, revenue challenges, when I talk about this, is your taxes. The issue that I'm seeing is that you're very elastic dependent. What that means is you're dependent on the economy. So your sales tax, your income tax, those fluctuate, you know. And so when people are doing well or sales are doing well, then you're doing well. But when they're not doing well, you're not doing well. And you don't want to have a lot of your revenues in those types of elastic sources, and you do. There's not enough diversity. You need more like service charges, fees, fines, things that are used, you know, somebody's using it, they're paying for it, like golf carts, okay? The pool. And I'm not saying that that's going to be for the general fund. I'm just saying whenever you have a service or there's a cost of us providing a service, there should be a fee or a fine attached. Again, we're also very utility dependent. Here's another review of the revenues. 91% are from elastic sources, 37% are transfers in. Now your investment income needs improvement, but we are working on that slow but sure. So revenue changes that you're going to see in this upcoming budget, we're losing 2% on our business district tax. Thank you, State of Illinois. They're taking, so it's about $2,000. Doesn't seem like much, but every penny counts. Again, we're losing income tax from the state this summer, and our EAB dropped almost $500,000 from last year, from 16 to 17. So then, you know, that affects our property tax. There are some increases. We are getting the franchise fee from area. We're projecting about $7,000. We are transferring some money from the business district to the general fund because we are doing things in the business district, you know, potholes, you name it. I'm still applying and looking for grant money, and then you'll see why I'm discussing a potential bond issue. Expenditures, in terms of history, you'll see your largest expenditure is police. That's typical. If you had a fire department, they'd be right there, right next to each other. Those are usually your two largest expenditures, so nothing surprising. Streets and administration, about the same. And then we have pool, parks, and the city council. The pie chart, the next one, shows another breakdown. It's kind of similar. It's just for this fiscal year. So your total general fund expenditures are about $1.26 million. Biggest chunk again is the police.
Don't spend much money on our parks, do we?
No. No, it's a small amount.
Is there, do we, let me ask you how I ask it. There's not a levy for the park, is there? There's not a levy at all
No,
that we can adopt, it's
I
like that?
don't, I'm not gonna, I can double check, but it doesn't ring a bell. There might be a small,
I was thinking, I don't think there's something for a levy for, I mean, a small levy for, or we got state money for parks and for cemeteries, like our city said.
That's what I mean, I think it's really tiny.
Yeah.
So then the pie chart of the different kinds of expenditures, your personnel is your biggest amount, that's almost 670,000. Operating, which is just your ongoing, is about 450, and capital is about 100. That's in general. So, just try to give you a flavor. Again, some of the things you're going to see, this budget is completely different. Yes.
You're paid out of what, general, or is there?
My what?
Are you paid out of general fund?
Yes. Well, it's a mix.
It's a,
Mostly general fund because we're already transferring my work on water, sewer, electric into the general fund.
Right.
So. You're going to see line item consolidations. You're not going to see as many line items, or you're going to see things that have been combined because they're very confusing. We've added some lines. Things like we deleted system. What's system? So we've created new lines made for IT, so we can keep track of the age of our computers and who's getting new ones and staying on top of that. Operating supplies seem to be kind of a slush fund, like a miscellaneous. We didn't know what was going in there. So we've been trying to define more line items so you're not just lumping everything into a single line item. Also just of interest, the CPI is at 2.1. It's my understanding that the city has generally tried to stay within the CPI for your cost of living increase, which I put in 2%. So that's in there, that doesn't mean it has to stay there, I'm just telling you what it is. So if we go to administration, the things that are in there that are new, that are unusual, let's call it that. Financial system software updates, this would be one thing is your ACH debit so that we can pay things electronically and also pay our employees electronically. It'll save on staff time, it'll save on paper checks, all kinds of things. Reverse 911 system, yes.
how did they receive that? Because I thought that had been tried once before and it wasn't received well. It was never been
No,
tried.
it's never been tried. We are still currently interviewing companies on reverse 911. It may not be 5,000, but that's what I put into the budget for now. It may be a little less. And in administration, Ruth's computer is almost 10 years old. So for administration, she's got the oldest computer, and so there's $1,200 in there for a new desktop. And then dictation equipment, so that it's easier and faster and we're more efficient in transcribing minutes, especially executive session minutes.
Another thing about the computer and the bookkeeping end of it, no, we don't have, I know we don't have, whatever her name was a long time ago. I don't know if she was still around when you first came here. Gretchen? No. What kind of operating system do we have now? Is it
There's Windows, I mean, it's,
But
everybody has a little bit of different. I have like 2016, I think some still have 2008, 2010.
you might have that, but I'm talking about not your operating system, but your program for your
Cassell, Clarity?
you know what I'm talking about? For your paying your bills and everything, paying the electrical bills, or not, for collecting electrical bills and everything. Is that a certain one, a special one we had? Is that the only one you've ever had since you've been here, or has it changed more than once?
It had to have changed when we went to that PSN network, or did it not change, or did you just,
PSN is the
Like
first
the-
time we've ever been able to
like
pay online
electronically?
electronically.
Right.
That's the first one. I mean,
And did you have to change your system when you guys went to that PSN stuff, or was that just like an add-on?
it's an add-on.
Just like that they took control of doing that?
I go back to Gretchen, we're going too far back, but she was somebody that had her own program that she wrote, and we bought that, and we suffered through that, and it was just, so, okay.
Is Ruth the only IT upgrade, the only computer yet?
In administration.
Is that, all right. We should look at
I'm trying to do just one a year.
we should look at not laptops, iPads or something for the council.
Well, I was just gonna go on to mayor and council, that's the next department. I have in there right now a sound system, something where when we talk up here, they can hear us in the back of the room. I put $3,000, I don't know, it could cost $500. I haven't done that much research on it yet. Going paperless for you guys would be probably great, but obviously there's a cost to that.
Another school uses it that way, you know, you don't have to drag in last month's or last meeting's papers and, you know, or you've lost them and now I need you to reprint them for me.
Gibson City uses the iPads and they have a dedicated network and the council members can search the history of every council before them and get papers and documents.
I mean, it's something we can investigate and see how much it would cost.
Sure.
And throw it into the mix for the next meeting. I also included last year, it wasn't budgeted, I don't know why, the IML conference. Parks, I consolidated the parks, it was very confusing, what was parks, what was rec, why they were separated. They are, once I walk you through the budget book, they're still delineated, so you know what's being charged, but it's in parks. I put a token $2,000 with a question mark, playground updates, something small, little things that maybe need to be done. There's been an interest in improving the shack concession stand out at South Park, possibly sidewalk or paving at South Park, and a landscaping line item for trees, bushes, those kinds of things. Again, these are things that have come out of the departments that I've thrown in to see what will work. So later you will see that I have recommendations of what can be removed. So I'm just walking you through right now what's kind of out there.
Going to the school for on the concession stand, which
I'm sorry?
Going to the school about the concession stand, because there's more high school events out there than what there is.
Well, going to the school and the baseball association. They're the ones who have expressed interest.
Okay.
And
baseball
so that the Haunted Forest used it, and something else used it last year. The shack.
Soccer probably.
Yeah, that might be. So
Soccer never has concessions, so they just use the fields out there. But baseball has
somebody uses the
Haunted
shack. I
Forest
can't
has
remember. She
concessions,
said
concessions, and
yeah.
The baseball association has the key to it, so I assume that they're in charge of it.
there's the cities.
Well, it's ours. I mean, I'm still working on it.
So when you're talking about sidewalks out there, I mean, I don't know how far $7,000 goes in sidewalks, and it doesn't go very far.
I know.
This whole thing about the sidewalk out to the South Park, to me.
Oh, I don't mean going out to South Park.
This is
no.
just-
I
Just
mean
in
the-
South Park.
Yeah.
We need to get the railing up on that bathhouse.
Well, this goes, I think I put it in just maintenance and upkeep or capital projects out there, so, if we find that we can leave the 7,500, then we can decide what to put it towards too. It doesn't have to be these things I've listed.
Sure.
Police, in the FOP contract, they're scheduled for 1%. Again, as I stated, I put in 2% across the board. Administrative adjudication, that is code, ordinance violations, looking to work with another community, but we'd have to pay an administrative law judge. There's more training, a couple more cameras. These two next asks are in the back of the, things for discussion. MDTs in the 3 cars and replacing the chief's car. It has 80,000 miles on it. So, I don't know when it's going to start nickel and diming us. And then for the police department, just the chief's computer.
What's the MDTs?
They're mobile data. They're like
The computer form, essentially?
yes.
I got you.
In the pool, this is going to be a big decision for you to make. I put in a small seasonal salary increase. We talked to, what is it, Leroy? Down where the pool is, Replex. So we're looking to bump the lifeguards up a little bit, trying to get them to stay and actually work. Also, there was an interest by Jill to have a Visa MasterCard option. So in there, there's the revenue for the fees, and then there's the expenditure for the fees, because we're not gonna absorb that, it'll just be added to what they pay. So let's say they wanna buy, for 5 family members, there's gonna be like a $3 fee.
It's a 3%
We're gonna have,
charge.
we're gonna have them pay for it, but we have to recognize it in our budget. Here's the big thing. The decision needs to be made, not tonight, obviously, is when are we gonna do these capital improvements? It needs to be done. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. I've gotten 2 different opinions on the pool wall. One is you need to fix it, one is it's okay. Do we close for the season and just bite the bullet and get everything done? Do we wait till the fall and hope that the wall nothing happens with the wall? The other thing is we're looking for $250,000 to $500,000 for all of the work. Now, there are options out there, you could do a bond, but how are you gonna pay the bond? I would suggest if you're gonna do something like that, that you borrow from yourself, like the electric fund, but then again, how do you pay it back? But there's some tough decisions to be made. I think it's an amenity. I think we agree. We've talked about it in strategic planning. It's deciding how are we gonna accomplish this? Yes, can we, I asked about Osland grants. They're not offering any right now. Obviously, we'll keep looking.
Clark Foundation helped build that pool.
The Clark Foundation, I'm sure, will help, but it's $500,000. I don't know that would.
Is that to repair it or rebuild it?
Well, it includes a lot of things. It includes repairing the walls and the gutters. It's the painting. It's the filter system. It's connecting to the filter system.
So will everything have their own filter system if we do this? Because right now, we're kind of grandfathered into there's one filter system controlling
Right.
all 3 pools. So
Right,
will we
this
change
would
that with
separate
this?
it, yeah.
Separate everything out?
So the layout of the pools are gonna stay the same?
The layout, yes.
But also in that, if we were to close down for this year or whatever, if we came back and everything was better, we could increase admissions and make
Right.
some money back.
You would have to in some
Right.
fashion. Yeah.
I don't think we.
Well,
when was the
I
last
would
time we ever
suggest doing
increased
like a
admissions?
nice new slide or something.
Right.
Don't just do new paint and concrete.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So you said you've had one person say it needs replaced and another one say that it's fine.
We're still trying to get estimates. Fred has probably talked to 5, 6, 7 people. Some refuse to come out, some look and give you some low estimate, that's not worth anything. Others, they're very serious, they know their business. One is, you need to fix this. One is, I think it'll be okay for now. So.
But eventually down the road, we need to fix it.
We're gonna have to address it. Streets and alleys, I've added some new line items to annually address streets, sidewalks, storm drain, catch basin repair and replacement, traffic signs. Fred has requested some street garage work. There's some base metal work in the building. It's just, your ongoing maintenance and upkeep. And a wall for the Vector truck to keep it warmer. Makes operating it easier. I put 5,000. I don't know if that's enough or too much for I've seen different, I don't know. In Farmer City, in my experience, I've had people that can demo houses for really cheap, but I don't know if you have that person. So, but to try to get rid of that house on John Street across from the school.
I was thinking about that. I went by there today and I thought, tear that down. Nobody seems to want the property. Just make it a park.
Yeah, anything would be better than looking at the house, so.
I've asked, that's about the going rate for around here.
I figured it would be pretty close, that if it was a.
We'll tell my house down on Green Street down there, Water Street down there for $5,000 and just grab on because I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I was looking at
Right, give us their numbers, please. We'll take it.
There's a couple of capital projects or capital expenditures, and then the dump truck we didn't get purchased this year because it seems like we were just under where we really needed to be. So we will have saved that money and then project to spend a little more. I've moved salt and rock, CA6 purchases to MFT, and removed street lighting to save on the general fund. Water sewer. Revenue, kind of been all over the place, except it is dropped. It's maintaining, but dropped a little. Sewer has as well. It's just kind of maintaining. Expenditures are a little different. Not spending very much, as you can see. It's going to take a big jump next year. Some by design and some by IEPA. Another little chart to kind of show you how we haven't been hitting the mark. We've been bringing in much less than we've been spending. Back in 14-15, we were in a deficit. These last 2 years, we've been maintaining because we're not spending. And now again, you're going to see we're looking at a deficit budget that we're going to have to address if we spend. Sewer's the same way. We've been kind of plugging along. First, we were in a deficit spending, then we didn't spend hardly anything, so our revenues were holding their own. Again, we're projecting to go way beyond what we're taking in, mostly because of the IEPA.
Are we going to ask for a water and sewer increase?
Yes, that's on the next page. In this budget, this book that you have, there's a 10% increase. It's not near enough. I've just put it in there to see what it would do to the numbers. We have monitoring increase for the IEPA. I've put 3 fire hydrants in there for this year. That includes the hydrants and the valves. You could probably do 6 for a couple of years, and it'll take a while to play catch up. Some equipment, and here's the capital project in water per Kelvin. A number 1 filter, well telemetry. I'm still looking at a CDAP grant, which is going to affect your revenues and expenditures, and some type of water main replacement.
How many hydrants do we have that don't work?
I think he had a list of about, I want to say 12, could be 15.
Yeah, and in between there, I'm sure there's probably going to need to be some other replacements too.
In sewer, again, 10%, not near enough. We're going to have to spend more on chlorine, thanks to the state. We do have meter repair and replacement, some equipment, and...
You say because of the state, what, they asking for a higher residual? Or residuals?
No, that's, we got to start treating it, remember, for the MPDS program.
Oh, okay, that's right. The effluent coming out of the plant.
Yeah. Capital, we're looking at doing more of Water Street. That's not part of the TIF project, lining the sewer. He said the main trunk line needs to be lined in or cleaned, and he's discussing an excess flow lift station. Say that 3 times fast.
And we're talking about Water Street from where to where?
It's right on the edge. From
John to Maine or beyond?
From John, I don't think it goes all the way to Maine.
What's that weird little
It's just 2 tiny blocks.
John to Williams? John to Williams Street?
Yeah, that sounds about right. On the next page, just for discussion, I'm still looking and studying, making sure these numbers are right. It's comparing our rates for 1,000 gallons of water and sewer. We're not quite in the middle, but we're not at the top. So, however, we're probably going to end up being at the top. Probably in the next couple of years would be my recommendation, unfortunately. But that's still moving target.
The Hayworth, just to point out, that Hayworth also has a line item on their stuff that's specifically for the water treatment, like infrastructure of their town. Like I actually got one of their bills, and like they have a line item, like just for the water treatment, like just to give them their own account with like money, like a fund that is added to their bill.
You can't do that. You know, whether if you want to do like a 2-tiered thing, maybe bump the rates up a little bit and then just do a separate line item for like the NPDS.
Well, I'm just saying, like Hayworth is very
Yeah.
low on this like chart, and they do have a a separate line item that they pay with their monthly.
I thought I
bills.
included everything, but we'll take. That's why I said this is still a work in
Right.
progress. Because I want to double check that we all did it right. So
Is that
Does
right?
Angie
Bell
help
flowers
with
is
some of this?
$40.
It's flat, unlimited,
But they don't
no
have sewer.
sewer.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Electric revenues, kind of steady for the most part. Expenditures are steady. I think they've been taking pretty good care of it. You're going to see a couple new line items. It's just plant repair and maintenance and IT. The bucket truck, they have had a line item in there that's been going in the fund balance of $75,000 each year. This year, you'll see a $225,000 to actually purchase the truck.
Yeah, I remember they asked for that a couple of years ago.
And plant improvements, those are minor things. They're talking about some new doors, windows, painting, just upkeep.
And the mini has been showing up on several pages. That's a
Yes.
shared piece of equipment?
Yes.
Everybody's checking in a little bit for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Motor fuel tax, this year, again, as I referenced earlier, the recommendation is the 200 block of East Green. That's not set in stone. I just put it out there based on the staff. You'll see it a little later. I have a recommendation on how to determine which roads are the worst. I have some minor culvert work in there, and then of course salt, rock, and tree trimming. Trying to spread the wealth in the tree trimming out of the general fund.
There's a lot of those that need cleaned up, I think.
Is the rate set for motor fuel for each month yet?
Is the rate set?
Yeah, they set it each month. They'll take up to, we get paid so much each month.
We get paid so much each month.
So much each month, but the rate is different each month, is it not?
Yes, but I don't look at it on a monthly basis. I use the IML projections from
Okay.
there. The business district tax, again, we're losing 2% thanks to the state. I do have in there the I-74 marketing study because they're in the business district, and we are transferring. I am creating a capital projects fund, we'll discuss in a minute, transferring $20,000 into the capital projects fund. Tip 2, this is a big one. West Side project, $500,000, Maple Street, another 25. I don't think it's going to take another 25, but. And then John Street in front of Schneider, may not be a whole 100,000 if, 100,000 is pipe to sidewalk for full reconstruct on something for one block, okay? That's the typical going rate. So I just put that in there just to cover, but I'm imagining it's gonna be less than that. And then I think I put 50,000 in there. That may need to be bumped up for TIF grants. Capital Projects Fund is a new fund. This is still going to be a work in progress. It probably won't be very robust this year. Something that we need to decide is how we're going to fund it on a regular basis. I don't have a dedicated revenue source. We are closing out the working cash fund because we don't need it. That's about $100,000. We're transferring some business district money, some utility tax money, but we still need something ongoing to feed it. But I put in there an annual road program if we ever get one, sidewalk improvements, pool improvements, if we ever want to improve the Depot Road to John to, 150, excuse me. Maybe the utilities, I-74, if you get grant money, you could dump that in there. It's in the back of the book, we'll look at it in a minute. Waste hauling fund, this is really just an in-out. This is, we're gonna get billed from area, we're gonna collect it on our utility bill, and we're gonna pay it to area. We just have to express it in our books. So, that number may change too. We based it on 20% senior citizen disabled accounts and about 872 homes. The proprietary and fiduciary funds, that's your insurance, FICA, crossing guards, IMRF. Everything's pretty good except IMRF. We did increase it this year on our property tax bill because we weren't charging for the working cash, and we reduced a couple other things, and we increased the IMRF levy. But you'll see in the books here that from 16 to 17, our liability increased $115,000, which means our coverage dropped from 76 to 75%. So that's going to be an ongoing concern. You can kind of see it in the next chart. The library, my only concern is that we are covering their costs 100% for IMRF, FICA, Medicare, and unemployment. It's costing us $5,000 a year. I don't know of any other communities that have component libraries that don't require the libraries to cover those costs themselves. However, by statute, they can't go above 0.115. They can go to referendum and get 0.6, but we have to handle the referendum for them. You know, maybe we just suck up Sally, excuse my language, and, you know, they're kind of at their limit. I mean, they're barely making it, you'll see, you know, in the budget. But I wanted you to be aware it's out there. Heartland Bank has approached us that they've asked for a credit card, but they won't give it to them unless we say it's okay. I'm planning to meet with the library board next month to kind of express my concerns about what's going on here and kind
Who
of,
wants the credit card? Who from
well,
the
probably the director,
Sure, they got a new librarian.
Yeah.
Sure she
Well,
can
librarian.
We just got into that with the township here and everything. We don't need the township, somebody from the township with a credit card. I was counting about $15,000, so.
I just wanted you to know that that was out there. You know, so.
State says they levy to their limit every year, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they
Oh,
they
yeah,
max
that's
out.
what I mean, they're capped, not capped, but they can't go above the 0.15. So what they get is what they get, and I think that's why I was told that we've been covering these things because we can levy for these things, FICA and IMRF, and, you know, are able to cover it right now.
Did we ever find out about the board offsetting people going off and going?
Yes, we have 3 that are, I've already talked to the mayor, 3 that are going to be leaving in June that want to reserve, and he was going to reappoint them.
With our approval?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they'll come before you. So as I said, it's a deficit budget, again, recent purchases, you know, if you look at it this way, some of the trucks and things that we're buying outright rather than borrowing, we're saving money there. Plus then, you can put off buying anything, it's like you're done in this fiscal year, then you can wait 3 years, put a little away, and then you'll be good to go in 3 years. It's like, you know, I've created a Mass Ruth to create a vehicle equipment fund to start putting that money in there on a regular basis.
You got something, Scott?
No, I was just thinking about the credit card deal. I mean, it depends on how hard it is for the librarian to get approval to spend money. If she's got to wait for a check or something, it's credit card would be useful.
Well, they have their own checking account, it doesn't go through us, so that's between her and their board.
Why are we involved with their credit cards then?
It's really hard to explain.
It's a screw.
They are in control of their own budget, but they are accountable to us for their finances. And the bank feels that because they levy through us, we will be ultimately responsible.
Right. Okay. I just know from being in different organizations that the credit card, if you have a limit, spending limit, you know what it is. Instead of going to the board once a month and get checks cut,
Right.
you can get purchases as you need them. But it takes a responsible person, like Walter said.
Well, I'll have more information when I meet with the board. So, that being said, a couple things to talk about increasing revenues or decreasing expenditures. There are some things to consider to increase revenue. As I said, we're very, very dependent on elastic sources and plus very dependent on the utilities. So, the utility tax right now is at 3%. You can go up to 5%. These are not, I want to make sure that I'm very clear. It is my fiduciary responsibility to tell you what your options are. I am not recommending or declining to recommend what you do. I'm telling you what's out there. So you can increase the utility tax, make sure that it's, you know, transferred into the general fund. There is such a thing as an amusement tax. That goes on, everything could be if you had a bowling alley or if you had a movie theater. Right now, it's on ticketed events and ticketed things. I can get you the particular, if you're interested, the definition.
Heritage Days pay amusement tax.
No.
No.
Heritage is not a ticketed thing, it's free.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now if you charge to enter the festival, you know, the festival as a whole, because some festivals do have a charge. Like you have
Fairgrounds,
to get a wristband or something.
fair, races.
Yes. So I did an estimate, I did talk to Lance Speaker with the racetrack, so that he knows that I was going to at least tell you that this is an option. I'm not suggesting you do it as an option. But because then it would be taxed on people coming into the community for the most part, not entirely, I understand that. But it's better than raising property taxes. But it could be, if you did like a 5% on a $10 ticket, I estimated, you know, $28,000 to $35,000 a year. Now, one thing you could do is work with the racetrack if you were to do that and say, hey, for your heartache and administration, you know, how they come for grants, is rebate some of that tax back to them to assist them with their needs. So that's another thing. So and if BMX track had, you know, an entry fee, if we get a movie theater in the future, you know, those kinds of things. I did look into the gaming. Actually, a colleague of mine in another community, they did the legal research and found you can't tax on the income, but you could do a fee on every machine. So if you have 10 machines, you could charge them $20 a machine, you could charge them $100 a machine as like an annual license. But in terms of the amusement tax, you can't tax on the income generated from the machine. Local ordinance tickets, the chief and Joe and I are working on. I had suggested to Joe, out of every ticket, if a $120 ticket, right now the city gets about $40. If you issue local tickets, so you adopt the Illinois Vehicle Code and you issue local tickets, we get 100% of that revenue. The person would pay the court costs, you know, like you go to court and the ticket's 120, but the fine's 150 because 30 of it's court costs.
Right.
The court still has their court costs collected, but the 120 goes to us instead of 40.
So why aren't we doing
How does
that
that
now?
work?
Well, because Joe said he didn't know about it.
Well, they used to do that at one time. We used to have police magistrates and justice of the peace and everything. And this town had one.
Well, that's one thing that we still have to work through, because the larger communities are doing it, like Williamson, Normal, Champaign, but they have the ability to actually have an administrative or city court. Whether or not we can work through those steps, but that's another option.
Is that only on tickets that our department writes?
I'm sorry.
Do you write a lot of tickets?
Is that only on the tickets our department writes, so we don't
Yes.
get the full benefit of what state
No.
police write?
No,
We don't.
that's just the tickets we write.
And last year, for the question about citations, I think we had about 388 tickets. We had other arrests, but as far as traffic citations, about 388.
So imagine if we kept all that money. Which brings me to a hot topic. I'm just going to put it out there because it's my job to do so. But in other communities I've worked on that are near or around an interstate, I've actually had communities that have tried to enter into pre-annexation agreements with farmers so they could annex the land to get to the interstate because it is a money maker. I know that there's a lot of complaints about our guys being out on the interstate, but it's still a revenue generator. And I'm not suggesting we go and sit out there every night, all night, but I do think we need to consider.
Question. Did Leroy go to this? Do they, I understood that they take care of all of Empire Township now.
They do township. That's correct.
So it's something to think about, a lot of seized money, a lot of, I think I was told today that the county posted something about our interchange being a honeypot for them. So a lot of money being seized and made, so.
So this
throwing it
also,
out there.
you've had drug seizure, this should also include 100% of that, correct?
That's correct.
Those are big dollars.
I know when I talked to Monticello, Chief Clark Monticello, said they have a schedule that they put one guy on the interstate on a schedule. so that the town never loses coverage. And that's acceptable if you can do it. But how much does it increase the risk to our officers if they get shot or killed on the interstate?
It's always there.
Yeah, no matter where.
Well, it's there because they're on it. I mean, if they're not there, it's not the risk.
Well, you can get shot and killed in town. I mean, somebody could, you know, shoot and kill them.
There's a number of factors we'd have to look into, because not only that, but if you have one officer running traffic, then you have to catch up to the speeders, and there's a whole host of things that we have to look at before we would say, yes, this is something that we really widespread should consider type thing. But there's other communities doing it successfully. They're not having their officers at too much risk and stuff, so I think there's ways that we can at least look at it.
I mean, the sheriff's department just posted on Facebook that that's a honey hole for them.
Oh, there's more sheriff's police out on the interstate, trail interstate lines, we do. There's a lot of them out on there in McLean County.
Well, if you can balance the coverage of the town and the risks of the officers, then it's a good deal.
So, I'm just putting that out there. If you go to about 7 tabs in, I'm sorry that they're not labeled, it's streets and alleys. But at the bottom of streets and alleys, it shows the beginning fund balance, revenues over, under, and the ending fund balance for the general fund. I think I counted 7. Maybe 8.
Under streets and alleys?
Streets and alleys, at the bottom.
Blue tab.
Oh, okay. I don't mind the blue tab, but.
In front of the blue tab.
White, it's just-
I counted 8 tabs.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Okay. So you see at the bottom, we have been in the black the last few years. This last fiscal year, we were in the red 62,000. We're projected to end this year 168. Again, that was strategic. We bought the cars outright, we paid off the truck loans. Anyway, and it may not even be that much by the end of the fiscal year. So right now, with everything that I've listed is included in there, is 68,000 in the red. That's a lot of purchases, a lot of things that are in there that we haven't done. So I've listed on the last page of my presentation some things. It won't get you to 0. It might, I think I added up 58 or something, but is waiting on the chief's car, putting away half now and then buying it outright next year. That would save $17,500. Buying 1 MDT per year, that would, save $10,000. The pool, I put $5,000 as capital, just a basic, if there's minor improvements. If we do a giant $300,000 project, that can come out. Parks, just doing no upgrades, no improvements, that's $7,500. No clerk office separation, I'm sorry, I forgot to put that in there, to put a wall around the clerk's desk. There are times, whether it's working on payroll, HR, that they just need quiet separation, whatnot. That can come out. The John Street House demo. So those were some minor things that are in the general fund that could easily come out, put off. But again, you could leave all these in there, you're still going to have 82% fund balance. Also, you do something, one of the revenue suggestions, that could offset some. So there are some things to mull over in your head, discuss. Obviously, we'll be talking about it again on April 2nd. But if you walk through the tabs, you'll see, especially in the general fund, I've given you line item detail now. So if you look at what's under equipment and administration, it's going to tell you, well, that one doesn't have anything, but IT, website hosting, website maintenance, domain hosting, the finance computer, software. So you'll see in each one, the yellow means that that's why you're not allowed to take these books, because they're still being worked on. But you'll see in each department, for police, for example, travel and training, what is in that? Tools and equipment, what's in that? Tasers, ammunition, building property maintenance, that's where the cameras are. So you'll see, I'm trying to give you a little better feel for what is actually in these items. In Parks and Rec, that's where you'll see the separation of South Park and Wheaton. See, the 7,500 is not even all South Park. That doesn't mean it has to be that way, that's just how it's set up right now. It's for you to decide how you want to do it. But hopefully this will help you. Also, like hotel motel fund, I've put in previous years so you can also see trends in all these funds. So now you have the hotel motel fund, you know exactly where it is. You know that the starting fund balance next year will be about 12,000. Obviously, this is not the end of the fiscal year yet, but how much is slated in there and what we'll be left with. So each one is in there. I've done that for the business district. I've also done it for all the utilities. And then in the very back is your capital projects. Those are the last two sheets in the book. As you can see, it's $362,000 in the hole. That's just because I plugged in some numbers. Some of the money's seed money, for lack of a better term, like the working cash. Here's where I was going to mention the annual road program. There's a product or a program out there called robotics, that some of the communities are starting to use. It's a computer program where you drive around the town and it has a camera and it actually analyzes and will give you a report and actually list out, here are your worst ones, your next worst ones, you know, by color coding. And they have unbelievable stats that they can give you as to how they came up with that. And so that's a one-time $4,000. Then I have the pool improvements at the bottom, that's why it's 362 on the whole, but these are just things I threw in there for conversation, to create the fund. These will be in much better condition at the next meeting. This is what I'll be walking you through on April 2nd. We'll go through each one, but at least you can take this and kind of look through it and think about things. And then you'll have this for the 2nd, and then also for the public hearing and decision on the 19th of April. And then if we can't get it done by the 19th of April, you can always have a special meeting if you're still kind of working on things. But I wanted to get the asks from the department. I wanted you to see what it's looking like, and then big picture things to think about. So that's a lot to absorb. Do you have any questions?
I'm a little concerned with the pool thing. That kind of bothers me that we've got some that say it needs fixed and some that say it doesn't. I mean, that's a huge expenditure to put into it. I mean, we know it's going to need some maintenance.
Well, the pool wall isn't $500,000, but yes, it's still a huge expense.
But I mean, just, you know, that was one. I know it's going to need done, but is it going to make it till next year? That's the concerning thing. I mean,
Right.
The other concerning thing about the pool is this. At the time the pool was built, it was something that the town could use and was used heavily. And it's getting close to 50 years old. And but as times went along, things have changed as far as pools go. People have pools in their yard now. They don't come to the pool. They don't want to come to the public pool for various reasons. And I hate to say this because I was one of those ones that really wanted to have a swimming pool in this town for a long time. I don't know what to do. I really don't want to use an asset to the community, I think. Not that I want to fill it in, but you know, I would agree if we could and fix it. But it's something that I guess understand my point. What I'm trying to say is here, it's just something that's not used. You go by there during the summer, there's just not as many people there as there used to be. It used to be just jam-packed.
I do think a lot of that has to do with the condition, though.
No,
I don't know if you
absolutely.
walked around it. I went out there this summer, and the concrete chipping up. I mean, you'd hurt yourself walking around, and the flooring and the lockers.
Just
There might be
even
some of it too, but it's not all of it. This has been going on for a few years. This is not something that just happened.
I think it definitely needs to be upgraded. I would love to see it upgraded, and I mean, I would hate to have it shut down for a summer, just because there are a lot of kids that, you know, do take advantage of it and they're there all day long, you know, but at the same time, I also would love to see something better for the community and better for the people that utilize it, because the locker rooms, the bathrooms are disgusting. You know, things just need to be updated for sure, like showers and, you know, I mean, there's some kids that are there from 12 to 8.
How long's that been there?
Since 72.
70s?
Yeah.
72 is when it was
No.
built.
Well, they
I
are
just-
getting new lockers because we looked into powder coating the old ones.
Yeah.
And it's actually better, cheaper to just get new lockers. And she had some money and I told her,
Right.
so we are doing that and we're getting cost estimates for the flooring. You know, new epoxy flooring.
Yeah.
What about-
But that's it for this year.
That company out of Maurer Stutz.
That's one of the legal.
Oh, I have a whole list. I've been working with the town of Normal's aquatic director on advice and
Sure.
contacts and companies and, you know, just crazy.
Is there used aquatic equipment out there, like slides and stuff, that we could add to it for
It's
less
possible.
cost? I
It's
mean,
possible,
because
but that's so far down my list though of
Yeah.
what this thing needs.
It just needs to be more maintenance than anything.
I would say, you know, just aesthetically, if we can make it better, like, I mean, it's good. The baby pool, the medium pool, the big pool. I mean, like, the only thing that it ever had when I was growing up was it had a high dive. But, like, everybody still came to the pool, no matter whether it had a slide or not. You know, I don't think that necessarily would bring people in, but I do believe that if we cleaned it up, got the concrete to where it wasn't cracking and lifting, and the edges of the pool, you know, I mean, there's tiles you can just lift out of there, and like, it's just super old, and
Well,
it
you
just
know-
looks old, so.
You know, I'm on the steering committee for the county's comprehensive plan and this came up as just discussing amenities
Right.
and how they talk about people come to Farmer City. for
They
that
really
pool
do.
Because the only other one is in Leroy.
Yeah.
And, you know,
No, and
When I
it's
was growing up,
big,
everybody
it's
would
spacious.
get-
And you know they're
they would
getting
get the
gas
city
and-
or Lake
maybe
Right.
driving a hot dog on the way in and out of town and,
Right.
you know.
Well, it's spacious, and we have you know, baseball, softball games right there next to the pool. So sometimes people will come with their younger kids, and mom or dad will take them to the pool, and then the other one stays at the game. You know, there's things like that happen, and you know, it's a big pool. We've got a baby pool, we've got a medium pool. The country club got rid of their baby pool, so like we do have an advantage. And you know, these newer pools, Monticello has upgraded their pool a little bit, so you know, and Leroy too. But they've also their prices reflect that. You know, I mean, Leroy, we're talking $9 a person to get in. To,
Yeah.
if you're not a member of the
Well, that's why I'm
Leagues.
suggesting you can't just do new.
Well, yeah.
You're gonna have
But you
to
could never
do a
get
slide
away
or
with
something,
doing
you know.
$9 an hour or $9 a day here. I mean, we would never get anybody to come, you know. But I don't think, you know, since I've been taking my kids and one of my kids is, you know, 13, I don't think the prices have ever raised. I mean,
Yeah.
even just, you know, $1
And you'll
would
see
be
in here-
beneficial.
I did a special sheet on the pool, treating it like it's its own fund, so I could see how it's operating. And of course, it's a money loser every year, and I knew
Right.
that. But it's, at least when you get the book and you look, it's eye-opening, you know.
Right.
But
And I would love to like somehow
that's
get
what
like
you
this.
decide to do when you have something like this.
Right.
Because it's losing 30, 38, 30, 58, $51,000 a year.
Right.
That the general fund is subsidizing.
Yeah.
But I do think it's worth it.
I mean, the big change in
I
the
do
pools
think
is
so.
everything's gone to aquatic center, slides and water parks. And it's not so much.
But I just don't think that we have the means to make it like a, you know, aquatic park or anything like that. I don't think, you know, I think
I don't have a source.
just to
pay
be
it
like
out.
realistic, you know, if we just cleaned it up, made it look nicer and like, you know, just made it look like aesthetically prettier and that like there was some money put into it. I think whether there's frills or not, people are gonna come and bring their kids because, you know,
Sure.
a lot of parents just wanna
What if we
relax. and-
expanded it a little bit?
I just don't know where you would expand it because the parking is used on the other side and there's limited parking for the baseball. You know, it's like there's nowhere to expand it. I think the cost would be exorbitant to try to make it bigger or grandiose more than it is. I think we're blessed to have a deep end, a, you know, full-size regular pool, a medium, and a baby pool. I mean, you've got all aspects covered. And, you know, I think if you have a nicer pool, you're going to bring more people in for swim lessons. I mean, I know last year she just didn't have the staff to keep up with
Right.
the amount of lessons that they were wanting. Tons of people wanted to sign up for lessons. So, you know, I think if we think of, figure out a plan. I think like in the long run it will work out, because I think people really do appreciate that we have the pool. It's not just people in Farmer City, it's people from all over that appreciate it, because they come from Muhammad. I mean, they'd rather come here than go to Champaign and have to deal with the crowds of people. It's like when you go to aquatic centers in Champaign or Bloomington or whatever, you're having to deal with crowds of people. And, and Leroy's just a higher dollar amount to go, and it's a way smaller pool. I mean, like they might have a part, like a, they have sort of like a waiting area where like little kids can go, but like a spot, a little bit, but like it's not anything great. And like to me, for $9 a person, like it's not that. It's just not.
We're just one of the few small towns around that have a pool.
Yeah, and I think we have a great pool. It's not just a pool. It's like Leroy doesn't have a medium and a baby pool. They don't have that. So, and they had to put a lot of money into what they created. And to me, the regular size pool is way smaller than ours. And I just think it's a major asset in town. I really don't want to ever see it go away.
Well, maybe they'll get an onsite grant program again too. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Move to adjourn.
Second it.
Call it.
Kelly,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Testori,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
motion carries.
Tell you one